The words hit me like a freight train derailing in slow motion, metal screeching against metal, sparks flying into the night. "I'll forget you in a week. Already found someone better," Sarah sneered, her lips curling in that familiar way, once playful, now venomous. We were standing in the dimly lit foyer of our apartment, the one we'd picked out together 2 years ago, with its creaky wooden floors and the faint scent of lavender from the diffuser she insisted on. But tonight, the air was thick with betrayal, heavy like the storm clouds gathering outside the rain-streaked window. Her engagement ring, my grandmother's antique diamond, glinted mockingly on her finger as she twisted it off and slapped it into my palm. The cool metal burned against my skin, a final insult. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding in my ears like a war drum. Humiliation washed over me in waves, hot and suffocating. This wasn't just a breakup. It was a public execution of my dignity, even though we were alone. Or were we? Through the half-open door to the living room, I glimpsed a shadow, tall, broad-shouldered, lounging on our couch like he owned the place. Her someone better. Mark, the smug investment banker from her office, the one she'd sworn was just a colleague. He'd probably heard every word, savoring my downfall. Why? The question clawed its way out of my throat, raw and broken. I hated how small I sounded, how the fury boiling inside me couldn't quite erupt. My fists clenched at my sides, nails digging into palms until I felt the sting of blood. Sarah laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that echoed off the walls like shattering glass. "Why? 'Cause you're pathetic, Alex. Always have been. Working that dead-end tech support job, dreaming of starting your own app like some kid in a garage. Mark, he's got ambition. Penthouse downtown. And honestly," she leaned in, her perfume, sweet vanilla and jasmine, the one I'd bought her for our anniversary, turning my stomach. "He's better in bed. Doesn't fumble around like a virgin on prom night." The words sliced deep, reopening old wounds I'd buried under layers of love and denial. Heartbreak twisted in my chest, a vice squeezing tighter with each breath. I wanted to scream, to shatter the vase on the side table, to grab her by the shoulders and shake the truth out of her. Was this really Sarah? The woman who'd whispered forever under starlit skies, who'd held me through my father's funeral, who'd promised to build a life with me? Or had she always been this cruel, hiding behind a mask of affection? I stumbled back, the room spinning. Resentment surged, hot and acrid, burning away the shock. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? Flashes of ignored texts, late nights at work, her sudden interest in gym memberships, they all clicked into place like puzzle pieces I'd been too blind to see. Obsession flickered at the edges of my mind. I could picture it now, her in his arms, laughing at me behind my back. The thought fueled a dark fire, one that whispered of justice, of making her feel this pain tenfold. But doubt crept in, cold and insidious. Was I overreacting? Maybe I deserved this. I'd let our relationship stagnate, buried in code and coffee, while she climbed the corporate ladder. Guilt gnawed at me. Had I pushed her away? Well, fuck that. This was betrayal, pure and simple. She could have ended it cleanly, but she chose to humiliate me, to rub salt in the wound with that sneer. Mark sauntered into the foyer then, his expensive cologne wafting like a challenge. He was everything I wasn't. Chiseled jaw, tailored suit hugging his gym-sculpted frame, a Rolex flashing under the hallway light. "Everything okay here?" he asked, his voice smooth, laced with false concern. But his eyes, dark and predatory, gleamed with triumph. "Get out," I growled, my voice steadier now, laced with suppressed rage. Sarah rolled her eyes, grabbing her coat from the hook. "We're leaving anyway. Enjoy your sad little life, Alex." The door slammed behind them, the sound reverberating through the empty apartment like a gunshot. I sank to the floor, the ring digging into my hand. Tears came unbidden, hot tracks down my cheeks, mixing with the blood from my palms. Heartbreak gave way to a cold resolve, settling in my bones like frost on glass. She thought she'd forget me in a week. I'd make sure she remembered me forever. That night sleep evaded me. The bed, our bed, felt vast and cold, the sheets still carrying her scent. I paced the apartment, the floorboards creaking under my feet, each step echoing my racing thoughts. Denial warred with reality. Maybe she'd come back, apologize, say it was a mistake. But no, her words replayed on loop, a torturous soundtrack. Already found someone better. Fantasies of justice bloomed in the darkness. Keying his car, spreading rumors at her office, something petty and immediate. But that was too small, too fleeting. Revenge needed to be surgical, devastating, leaving scars she couldn't ignore. By dawn, the first hints of a plan formed. I booted up my laptop, the screen's glow harsh against the gray morning light filtering through the blinds. As a tech guy, I knew systems, how to hack them, bend them. Sarah had always mocked my nerd skills, but now they'd be my weapon. I started small, logging into our shared cloud account, the one she'd forgotten to unlink. Photos, emails, documents, her life laid bare. There, buried in a folder labeled Work, I found the evidence. Selfies with Mark in hotel rooms. Flirty messages dating back 6 months. My stomach churned, but I saved everything, a digital arsenal. Obsession took root as the days blurred. I called in sick to work, ignoring the concerned voicemails from my boss. Food lost its taste. The fridge hummed emptily as I subsisted on black coffee, its bitter edge matching my mood. Inner conflict raged. Was this right? Revenge could consume me, turn me into the monster she accused me of being. Moral qualms surfaced in quiet moments, staring at our framed photo on the mantel, her smile now a lie. But resentment won out. She'd humiliated me. I'd expose her. Subtle hints of my unraveling appeared to the outside world. My best friend, Jake, dropped by unannounced, his knock hesitant on the door. "Dude, you look like shit," he said, stepping inside, his sneakers squeaking on the floor. The apartment was a mess. Takeout containers strewn about, the air stale with neglect. "Sarah left," I muttered, collapsing onto the couch. The leather creaked under me, a sound that once meant comfort now amplifying my isolation. Jake's eyes widened, his face a mask of sympathy tinged with awkwardness. "What? Why? You guys were engaged." I hesitated, the words sticking in my throat. Telling him would make it real, but suppression only fueled the rage. "She cheated. With some asshole from work. Said I'm pathetic." "Fuck her," Jake spat, his loyalty fierce. But there was a flicker in his eyes, pity? Or had he known? Paranoia crept in, a shadow in my mind. "You deserve better, man. Want me to help you trash her stuff?" I shook my head, a calculated smile forming. "Nah. I'll handle it." Inside, doubt flickered. Was I isolating myself? Pushing away the few people who cared? But the plan demanded secrecy. A slow burn that couldn't afford leaks. As the week dragged on, I delved deeper. Using anonymous accounts, I scoured social media. Sarah's profiles were a curated lie. Posts of brunches with friends, cryptic quotes about new beginnings. No mention of me, as if I'd been erased. Mark's was worse. Yacht parties, luxury watches, subtle boasts that screamed entitlement. I traced their digital footprints, uncovering connections. Mark wasn't just ambitious, he was shady. A quick search revealed old forum posts, complaints from exes about manipulation, even a buried lawsuit for embezzlement that got dropped. Ammunition. Fear mingled with excitement as I plotted. What if I got caught? Hacking her email was risky, but the thrill of power overshadowed it. I imagined her face when it all crumbled. Shock, regret, the humiliation I'd endured. Guilt surfaced in waves. This wasn't me. I was the nice guy, the one who fixed computers and dreamed big. But betrayal had forged something new, a cold resolve that silenced the doubts. One evening, as rain pelted the windows like accusatory fingers, I made my first move. An anonymous tip to her company's HR. Screenshots of her using work time for personal affairs, blurred just enough to avoid traceability. Subtle, strategic. The tension built as I waited, heart racing with each refresh of my inbox. Would she suspect? The quiet before the storm was agonizing, every creak in the apartment amplifying my paranoia. Then the call came. Sarah's number flashed on my phone, the ringtone, a cheerful melody we'd picked together, now mocking. I let it go to voicemail, savoring the power. Her voice, when I played it, was laced with panic. "Alex? What the hell?" Char called me in. "This is you. Just stop. Please." The plea ignited a spark of satisfaction, but also a pang of guilt. Was I crossing a line? Obsession deepened. I followed them once, from a distance, hood up against the chill wind. They dined at a upscale bistro downtown, laughter spilling out onto the sidewalk as streetlights cast long shadows. Sarah's hand on his arm, the way she leaned in, it twisted the knife. Resentment flared. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. Fantasies shifted. Not just exposure but ruin. Make Mark's secrets public. Watch their world implode. Inner conflict peaked that night. Back home, I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. The hollow eyes, stubbled jaw, a stranger staring back. "What are you becoming?" I whispered, the steam from the shower fogging the glass like my muddled morals. Doubt assaulted me. Revenge wouldn't heal the heartbreak, only spread the poison. But the cold resolve won. She'd started this, I'd finish it. By the end of the week the plan solidified. I'd hack deeper into Mark's accounts. Uncover fraud, leak it anonymously. Poetic justice, her better man exposed as a fraud, dragging her down with him. Suspense hung heavy, the air thick with anticipation. Little did I know the real twist was just beginning. The second week dawned with a deceptive calm, the sun piercing through the blinds like accusatory beams. I'd barely slept, my mind a whirlwind of code and calculations. The apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt like a war room. Laptop screens glowing with encrypted files, coffee mugs scattered like spent shells. Resentment had evolved into obsession, a constant hum in my veins. Every thought circled back to Sarah and Mark, their betrayal a festering wound I poked at relentlessly. The HR tip had been a test shot, and it hit home. Sarah's voicemail played on loop in my head, her voice cracking with fear. It should have satisfied me, but it only whetted my appetite. Guilt flickered, brief like a candle in the wind, but cold resolve extinguished it. She'd humiliated me. Now she'd taste regret. I dove deeper into the digital abyss. Using a VPN and throwaway proxies, I breached Mark's email. His password laughably weak, a variation of his birthday I'd gleaned from social media. The inbox was a goldmine. Shady deals, off-the-books investments, emails skirting legality. One thread stood out. Communications with a client about funneling funds through offshore accounts. Embezzlement, just like the old lawsuit hinted. My pulse quickened, the keyboard clacking under frantic fingers as I downloaded everything. This was it, the weapon to dismantle their perfect facade. But moral conflict gnawed at me. Was I any better than them? Hacking was illegal, a line I'd never crossed before. Fantasies of justice clashed with fear. Prison? Ruining my own life. I paced the room, the carpet muffling my steps, the clock ticking like a bomb. Denial resurfaced. Maybe confront them directly, end this madness. But no, directness had gotten me humiliated. Stealth was my ally. Jake called again, his concern palpable through the phone. "Alex, man, you gotta get out. Come grab a beer." His voice was warm, grounding, a reminder of life beyond revenge. "Can't," I replied, my tone clipped. "Busy." "With what?" "Brooding. She's not worth it." He paused, the line crackling with unspoken worry. "Don't do something stupid." The words stung, paranoia flaring. Did he know? Had Sarah reached out to him? I hung up, isolation deepening. The apartment's walls closed in, the air stale with unwashed clothes and regret. Heartbreak resurfaced in quiet moments. Memories of Sarah's laugh, genuine once, now tainted. Obsession twisted it all, she'd pay. That afternoon I executed Phase 2. An anonymous email to Mark's firm, attaching select files with a cryptic note. The truth always surfaces. Subtle, deniable. Tension coiled as I hit send, my breath shallow, the mouse click echoing like a gavel. Would it work? Or backfire? Hours stretched, suspense building like storm clouds. I refreshed news sites obsessively, the blue light straining my eyes. Then a ping, an alert I'd set for Mark's name. A local business blog. Prominent banker under investigation for financial irregularities. My heart leaped, a mix of triumph and terror. It was happening. Sarah texted that evening. You bastard. I know it's you. Stop this now, or I'll call the cops. The words glowed on my screen, her fury palpable. I stared, a smile creeping despite the fear. Humiliation reversed. Now she squirmed. But doubt surged. Cops. Evidence. I'd covered tracks, but paranoia whispered failures. Inner thoughts fractured. Hero or villain? The line blurred, moral grayness enveloping me. I needed confirmation. Venturing out, the city air crisp and biting, I tailed them again. From a cafe across the street, I watched their argument outside her office. Gestures sharp, voices raised over traffic hum. Mark's face, once smug, now ashen. Sarah's eyes darting, fearful. Satisfaction bloomed, but so did guilt. Was this justice or cruelty? Back home the plan escalated. I'd found more. Sarah's own secrets. Buried in her cloud, resumes padded with lies. A plagiarized report that got her promoted. Layered motives emerged. She wasn't innocent. Ambition had corrupted her. Mark just the catalyst. Resentment peaked. She'd used me as a stepping stone. Confrontation loomed. I arranged a chance meeting, luring her with a text from a burner. Meet at our spot. Need closure. The park bench by the river, where we'd gotten engaged. Poetic. She arrived at dusk, the water lapping softly, street lamps flickering on like wary eyes. Wind rustled leaves, carrying her perfume, a ghost from the past. She looked haggard, makeup smudged, eyes red-rimmed. Alex, she said, voice trembling. What do you want? Dialogue hung heavy, tension crackling. The truth, I replied, my tone even belying the rage. Why humiliate me? She sighed, sitting, the wood creaking. I panicked. Mark pushed me. Said you'd drag me down. Secrets spilled. He'd manipulated her, promised promotions, but now his scandal threatened her job. Regret etched her face. Not flat remorse, but complex, laced with self-pity. You chose him, I said, suppressed rage bubbling. Said I'd be forgotten. Tears welled. I was wrong. Please stop whatever you're doing. Inner conflict raged. Forgive. Or finish. Her plea humanized her, revealing cracks. Ambition born of insecurity, betrayal from fear. But heartbreak won. Too late. As she left, pleading, I leaked her files to her boss. Slow burn culminated. News broke the next day, her firing linked to Mark's downfall. Their world crumbled. But the twist came that night. A knock, police. Heart pounding, I opened the door. Alex Thompson. We have questions about cyber intrusions. Panic surged. Oh. Traces left. But the officer's words shocked. Mark Lawson tipped us. Said you hacked him, after he hacked you first. Revelation hit. Mark had been onto me, counter-hacked my system during my probes. He'd found my plans, but in his arrogance, tried to use them against me. Only to expose himself further. Poetic justice. His manipulation backfired, dragging Sarah down, but now me too. In the interrogation room, fluorescent lights buzzing, I confessed partially. Driven by betrayal. Charges loomed, but evidence muddled by his own crimes. Sarah visited, eyes hollow. I never wanted this, she whispered. Obsession's cost dawned. Revenge had consumed us all. In the end, no winners, only scars. Heartbreak lingered, but with it, a bitter wisdom. I'd remembered her forever. But at what price?